Live in three, two, one. We are live for a new episode of the Electrek podcast. I'm Fred Lambert, your host, and as usual, I'm joined by Seth Winshaw. How are you doing today, Seth? Oh, I think there might be a little bit of your mic doesn't pick up if you have like a short answer for some reason. Like right at the beginning, it takes a while to pick up. I think you might have. Yeah. Okay, we got it.
Cool.
Yeah, that's better. All right. In today's episode of the Electric Podcast, we're going to discuss brand new launch of the new Model S and X. We're going to talk a little bit about Tesla's full self-driving effort, the relationship between Musk and Trump, and how it could affect Tesla as it evolves, and it evolved quite a bit in the last 2 weeks. We have Xiaomi's SU7 Ultra that snagged a new record at the Nürburgring, really impressive. A different EV record for the Porsche Cayenne that's not even launched yet, that's already breaking records. And then we have a bunch of new 2026 prices for automakers, including the Rivian R1s, the Kia EV9, and a few more. So let's jump right in with the launch of the new Model S and X that happened. I'm still in Asia right now, by the way, so a little bit confused with the time. I think I wrote this article yesterday, but for you, yeah, no, it should be yesterday for both of us actually for this one because it happened in the middle of the night. Yeah, this is a basically like a mid-cycle update for Tesla. I know that Tesla doesn't follow the more traditional approach to vehicle updates, forget the model years and everything like that, but for the most part, if you look at the timing of everything of the bigger updates, Tesla has like done like more major refresh and then does a mid-cycle update. And I think that would, if you account for the 2021 refresh, we're in 2025 now, so this is kind of a mid-cycle refresh, and it's not a very impressive one. If we're gonna be fair here, for context, Model S and X sales have not been doing well. They've been crashing. In fact, Tesla has a capacity to produce 100,000 Model S and X combined per year, and it's currently selling them at a rate of around 36,000 units a year. So it's operating at less than half of its capacity, and that's because of demand. The demand is just not there. There's a lot more competition now in the EV space, especially at the top end, like from Rivian that we just talked about, from Lucid, from the Germans now with Mercedes and BMW having, very close Model S competitors now. There's a lot of options now. And Tesla is just not bleeding edge anymore. And I think this is the best example because while you have automakers like really pushing things, Tesla had a mid-cycle update that, no joke, basically amounted to new wheels, including one that maybe boosts the range a little bit, while another one actually reduces the range. And I'm just talking about the wheels here. And added a RGB light strip to the interior, and added like a front-facing bumper camera to potentially add some capacity to the several ADS system that they have. That's literally it. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not much. Like even in Tesla's list of update, like the first one they put is like a new color. So they have the frost blue paint color, which is this one here. Set. I don't know
Yeah,
what you think
it's
of
not
that
bad.
one.
I like it.
Yeah, yeah, it
I
is.
mean,
It is new at least. Like you don't see that often.
yeah, Tesla could really just add 10 more colors. It would be really nice.
Oh yeah, I didn't look if they actually like remove one to add that one. I don't think they did. So that's actually a good point. They added one. But in terms of the design, the wheels are the biggest thing here. So they have a bunch of new wheels designed, including this one. Um, uh, yeah, this one is the new. It's called. It's not Valerian. I didn't put the name of the 19-inch ones. Oh, no, these are the 19-inch ones. These are the 21-inch. Okay, so these are the new 19-inch wheels from Tesla, and they are the one that reportedly improve aerodynamic performance, resulting in now a 410-mile range on the long-range Model S. which becomes the new longest range Tesla, and that's 5 more miles of range than the previous version. But again, doesn't sound like there's any powertrain changes. It's the same powertrain, same motors, same battery. The 5 more miles are because of the new design 19-inch wheels, which are covered area, as you see. And we see that because if you upgrade them to the 21-inch wheels, so there's the new Velarium wheels here, Tesla, the range goes from 410 to 380, a big 30 miles difference. And I looked up what it was before on the previous version of 21-inch on the Model S, long range again, and it was 382, so you actually lose a little bit of range compared to the previous version of this one. The wheels do make a big difference. And then the Model X also getting a little bit of new wheels, different design, the Peri Helix for the 20-inch and the Machina wheels for the 22 inches. Machina wheels looks pretty badass, to say.
They look badass, but I can't imagine those are very efficient at all.
Yeah. the range hasn't changed much for the Model X, actually. Both vehicles actually got a little bit heavier too with the design update. Yeah.
Usually they get lighter. What do you think that's due to?
I think like normally with a mid-cycle update, you're 4 years into a model, you're gonna change also the battery cells, maybe improve the chemistry a little bit higher energy density, and that will help control the weight, even if you add features, because normally in mid-cycle you want to add features, which Tesla did here, but not a ton of them. So I think that adds to the weight a little bit, and no counterbalance with any efficiency improvement.
There was more space and cargo area in the Model X. I wonder if it's actually a bigger vehicle now.
Yeah. They didn't explain how they achieved that. They didn't release any volumetric metrics to compare them, but they did say a little bit more third row space, a little bit more cargo space. They also said improved cabin noises, but we don't have any metrics on that. So this is probably like the biggest one. It's the ADS, it's the front bumper camera added to the ADS system now. And yeah, the other big change to the interior, RGB light running around the vehicle. And it literally feels like Tesla felt bad about that, because this is a feature that was added to the Model 3 refresh a year ago, Model Y refresh a few months ago, which is the entry-level lineup for Tesla. So you're just adding that now to the flagship vehicles. So Tesla wanted to add one other things to they had it for the Model S and X. Now you have like an entry animation with those lights that looks a little bit like this. So you have the lights that welcome you and a little Tesla logo that appears, and that sort of continues the line on the dash when it opens up. It's just when it opens up, because you have to use the screen for that, and obviously you use the screen for other things when you're actually driving the car. Bushings and updated suspension design. Again, no details on that, but Tesla says that it improved the suspension, so maybe that's also where the weights come from. Updated adaptive driving beams, just like the Model 3 Model Y also got recently. In terms of the actual design changes on the exterior, there's not much. Other than the Plaid, the Plaid does get a few updates, hardly noticeable unless you're very familiar with the Model S Plaid. But the biggest thing really is the front logo. As you can see, it's now looks more like a hole in the middle, because you don't see the logo as much, because it's matte black now. It was chrome before. I don't hate that change. It's kind of cool little change, but obviously very minimal. The Plaid here has a new rear diffuser. Not a giant change, but a little bit. And like you said, more space for a third occupant in the Model X, but they didn't release any pictures of that, so I couldn't tell. Really, the biggest change out of this whole thing is the price. The price, with all that, the price increased by $5,000 across the board for the long range version of the Model S and X, and the Plaid version of both. So now a Model S starts at $85,000, $100,000 if you want the Plaid. and the Model X start at $90,000, $105 if you want the Plaid. Yeah, I don't know what to say much about that, honestly said. I think this is an example of Tesla kind of losing its edge in terms of innovation and compared to the rest of the industry. I think when Lars Morovi, the head of the VP of engineering vehicles at Tesla, announced that there's going to be a refresh, an update to the Model S and X earlier this year, he said that this is going to show it some love. And we assume that try to revive a little bit the vehicle programs as like I said earlier, that the sales are not doing well at all. But this doesn't look like love, much like just a tiny little update to and the pricing coming with a price increase too. So to me, it feels like Tesla is just trying to grab a buck from there's a big core group of Tesla owners that always upgrade to the
Have the latest
latest
Model S,
vehicles. Yeah, especially for the top of the line vehicles like the Plaid and Model S and X. So I think they want to get they're gonna get some money on that, because I think the Model S and X, Tesla's been making them for a while. Obviously, economies of scale are not quite there anymore. Like they reduced a little bit, but the production line have been optimized quite a bit over the Model S is more than 12 years old now. It's going to be 13 years old. So it's a $5,000 increase there. It's like pure margin for them. So I think they're just trying to make a buck here and leave the program to die slowly.
Yeah, it feels like they got a third party and said, hey, put a new diffuser on it, change the interior a little bit. This is like something that you could get, like a what's Ben's company called?
Unplugged Performance.
Yeah, Unplugged Performance could do something like this.
Yeah, you can do it yourself at home, like just with third-party parts, basically. You're right.
Yeah.
It's not the Tesla. Like Tesla used to do more to the Model S with a software update just a few years ago. Like they used to upgrade the performance.
What's interesting is like the Model S was so far ahead of its time that even with all these, very minimal updates, it's still a viable vehicle. Like it's still quite fast, obviously very fast. It's still a viable vehicle. It's just basically the same vehicle that was around, 5-10 years ago.
But yeah, it's still competitive. You're right. It's just like if you want more range, you have other options. You have the Lucid. If you want more luxury inside, more seat option, everything, you have the BMWs that are
Mercedes,
also really nice. The Mercedes too. So like at that price, it's a $90,000 car basically now. It's if you have so many options, it's a lot harder to compete.
Yeah.
All right. The launch of the Robotaxi program was supposed to be this week. There was a lot of reports about that. Bloomberg said Tesla was aiming for June 12. Tesla at one point tweeted that it was going to be June 1st too. So it's obviously getting delayed. But now Elon this week said they are aiming tentatively for the 22nd of June. But I wouldn't necessarily bet on that because it does tend to slip. And there's also been some rumors that it's not quite what Elon first talked about. Like for the first time, one of the vehicle was spotted completely driverless. So Elon said that since the end of May, that Tesla has been repeatedly testing vehicle without any safety driver in Austin. And only like 3 weeks later, we spot like these vehicles keep getting photographed all the time. The Tesla driving around Austin for testing, and now we only spot one vehicle testing without a driver 3 weeks later. And since then, since it's been spotted and everyone's been looking for them, they've been only spotted once again, and it was the same car. And it seems to be like another car at night. So Tesla is like testing two cars without driver, one during the day, one at night. Like I said, Waymo tested for 6 months with a driver, safety driver, with a fleet of cars, and then 6 months without safety drivers, the full fleet of car in Austin. And at that point, Waymo was already doing commercial self-driving ride-hailing rides in other cities before that. So I don't have a lot of hope that the service is going to actually launch this month. And if you look at the requirements for that too, in for the city of Austin and for the state of Texas, they just this week they were added to the testing pool, and you need to go from testing to deployment. And again, with Waymo that took over 6 months, and Tesla just was added today as an official testing phase. So before that, they were probably doing the same thing they've been doing in California, which is like actually testing with safety drivers and not saying that it's self-driving, just saying that it's level 2, and pushing the limits, which is Tesla's favorite thing. So yeah, I don't have that much hope for that. But what I want to get to now is actually, like, we've focused a lot on. We've been telling you for a while that Robotaxi launch in Austin is its main goal is to distract from the fact that Tesla is still not delivering on its promise of making all its vehicles full self-driving since 2016, produced since 2016, and that's the big issue here, because Elon is still saying that millions of cars next year are going to be self-driving on the road, and that would require the customer fleet. So I want to look more at, like, put my pink goggles on and look at it like, what's the best case scenario that happens here, because it is a distraction, it is moving on the goalpost. But the excuse from the fan base here is that this program will actually result in improvement in the consumer version of FSD, the one that's in the cars, because it's true that it is the same hardware. Tesla is using a Model Y with hardware 4, just like you can buy right now. It's just like it's not the same software. It's only operating in a geofence location that Tesla has mapped out pretty aggressively, and it's also being supported by teleoperation, which obviously cannot scale to a fleet, because you cannot have teleoperator for millions of vehicles, consumer vehicles. It just doesn't make sense. But this week, Elon gave us some data point on this. He said that there's going to be a 5x. So this custom software that Tesla is developing for the Robotaxi in Austin is going to merge. At first, he said soon. And then he said it has a 4x improvement, 4x increase in parameters. Then right away he said 4.5x after that, which doesn't sound like much. It was actually a pretty big difference between 4.5 and 4x. And he said that will happen more later this year, probably the end of the year. So it's not like, I don't know if that's his idea of soon, but he said several different comments about merging the new software developed in Austin with the consumer fleet soon, probably later this year, 4x parameter or 4.5x parameter increase. People got pretty excited because nothing has really happened with full self-driving in consumer vehicle this year since V13 has been released. There's been a few point updates, but if you look at the actual performance of it, the point updates didn't do much. In fact, it kind of like actually reduced capacity, because if you look at up to V13.2.8, there was only 5,000 miles of data. But again, this is the best available data, and actually data that was approved by Elon Musk. So cannot complain too much here. Tesla was achieving 467 miles between this engagement. And now if you look at just the 13.2.9, which is basically the most significant update that Tesla has done this year since launching V13 in December of last year. And sorry, you have 25,000 miles though on the previous one. It's the new one, 13.2.9, that you have just over 5,000 miles, and it's at 371 miles between this engagement. So it's actually a big regression. But again, less data, though most people that use it regularly also agree that it was kind of a setback, and that has been the case with FSD for a while. It's like 2 step forward, 1 step back kind of a situation. So that's just to reinforce my point that the FSD in the consumer cars, and that's if you have hardware 4 too, because by the way, hardware 3 is even further behind. It's not improving this year. So what can we expect for a 4.5 or 4x improvement in parameters? It's not the first time we've heard that. 12.5 was supposed to bring a 5x improvement in parameters. That was last year. And kind of a similar situation. Like people got really excited. Okay, you increase the parameters of what the car can do on FSD by 5x, now 4x. We're going to see a big jump. And to be fair, we saw a decent jump with V13 from V12.5. We saw almost a 2x improvement in miles between disengagement. Elon said there was going to be 5 or 6x. Oh, didn't happen, but still pretty good. Can we expect something like that, or can we expect a 5x improvement like on the initially discussed? I don't think so. If you look at the last time he said there's going to be a 5x parameters, because that was 12.5, and compared to 12.3, it went up from 224 miles of between disengagement to 273. That was a 5x improvement in parameters that was increased. And again, that was also very short-lived, because other point released after 12.5, we had 35,000 miles of data on this, so it's pretty good. It actually regressed to 184 miles of range. But there was a lot of updates in that, a lot of point updates after 12.5 that were pretty bad, and I do remember that on my own car, because back then hardware 3 was still around the same capacity of hardware 4. It was supposed to stay ahead of hardware 4 as Tesla focused on that, but they gave up on that last year and just admitted in January that hardware 3 is not going to support unsupervised self-driving. So yeah, that's where we are right now. So we are waiting for Tesla to merge the new software that they developed for Austin. But I mean, if you can tell from my tone right now, I'm not really optimistic about the entire situation because of historical data. Like I just presented, it hasn't really contributed to meaningful improvement. And I think specifically in this case, the focus is on Austin. They've trained it. Why it's not improving? It's because they're training specifically for Austin. So I do think that with that software update, if you bring your car in Austin, it's going to perform probably pretty well. Probably the same level of the Tesla's Robotaxi that are going to be operating there, though those are going to be probably safer because of teleoperation. I just don't know. Like so this week I posted another article. I didn't put it in there because it was getting a little bit redundant with this one, but Tesla was supposed to launch a service this week, and supported by teleoperation for safety, which Elon said was really important. And then Tesla had presentation with an investor where they admitted that there's going to be plenty of teleoperation for safety. And a day before the service was supposed to launch on the 12th, and Elon pushed it to the 22nd, Tesla posted a new job listing for engineers to work on a teleoperation system that reduce latency, because obviously if you have remote controls of the car, latency is a real problem, because it's a safety issue problem. So like the day of, they post a new job listing that points to Tesla still building the system to actually make the operation work.
Yeah,
Scary stuff.
Well, it's interesting because I could see Elon saying, look, we got to get this thing out there. We're going to hire a data center full of people to like basically have their own car or two. And it's almost like having like a mechanical Turk, like you just have humans driving cars. Because Waymos have, if something goes wrong with the Waymo, it calls up a human being and the human being does whatever. But can you imagine like a call center full of drivers, like driving Teslas around Austin? I mean, that's what it's going to look like.
I mean, you remember a few months ago we were talking about I always mess up his name, like John Kraftsvik, I think the godfather of Google's self-driving effort, the
Hmm.
Waymo CEO until 2021. When commenting on Tesla's effort, he said there's a lot of ways you can fake a self-driving car, and talking about Tesla. So he expected Tesla to fake it, and it's not completely unprecedented because there was recently one of those, like a big AI startup worth over $1 billion, like a whole unicorn that was figured out to be using, like it was a coding AI. So
Hmm.
you put a prompt and they will code it for you, and they were using coders in India to supply the code, and they
Yeah.
raised like a ton of money on that. So it's
I mean,
basically with the same
if you can
thing.
get the latency down, you can get a whole data center full of uh, folks in India driving Tesla cars around.
Yeah, but if you have, even like, I don't think it's gonna be as bad as like India, because obviously the latency problem would be significant. But even
Right.
like, is you as close as you get and you optimize everything for the latency, yeah, you're still gonna get like it's still not gonna be perfect. And I think that's why right now, so the first car that was spotted, the first Robotaxi with actually no one in the driver's seat that was spotted this week, there was a training car right next behind. And I believe that the reason for that is because there's a remote control system, especially like a kill switch, like you can just smash a button
Right.
and it's gonna stop the car, and it's right behind it, and like it was staying as close as it could to the car. So I assume that that's what they're doing right now, and if that's where they are right now, god, it's, and they're launching this month, it is scary stuff, folks. And I know Tesla is up today on the news that it's released some new information on some new guidelines to fast track the launch of self-driving vehicle, and that boosted Tesla. But I literally just woke up and saw that, so I don't have time to look into it. But it sounds like it's mostly for like actual driverless vehicle without pedals and steering wheel, which had a new layer of approval for NHTSA, because for the last 100 years or so, all vehicles had pedals in the steering wheel. So to approve them and being safe on the road, they need a new system to do that, and they fast track that. But that's like cybercab basically. And I don't think that regulatory approval is the limiting factor for cybercab. I think FSD working is the limiting factor. All right, one more Tesla articles, and then we jump into Xiaomi, Porsche, Rivian, and much more. If you guys have questions for us, you can put them in the comment section below, and we'll get to them in just a few minutes as we get to these news items. And if you do enjoy the Electrek podcast, please give us a like, a thumbs up, a subscribe. All these things are free to do, and they do help the show more than you think. All right, so Elon completely backed off from his attacks on Trump this week. The little breakup is over, apparently. Um, he said that he regrets some of the things that he posted about Trump last week. He didn't specify which one. I don't know
Yeah,
if
that's a good question.
yeah, the one where he called him a pedo. I don't know if that one is part of them. Um, but uh, but yeah, Elon like started sending little arts emoji to Trump. Like I think Elon got scared pretty fast. He realized that
Yeah.
if Trump's wanted to, he could crush Tesla, he could crush SpaceX, he could destroy his entire business if he wanted to. And
I mean, the CIA has taken out countries. So,
yeah,
like, you really don't want to mess with
exactly.
the US president.
No, 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 not right now, no. And but what was really interesting is like, so the we talked about it last week when the breakup started, that a lot of it was around the bill, and people are not sure like what is the real reason behind it and everything, because Elon made it about the bill, made it about the the increase in deficit, which is his main concern, and then Trump and the GOP went the other way around, and they said no, Elon is actually upset about what's the cuts for Tesla in the bill, which the removal of the tax credit for electric vehicles, the removal of the credits for producing batteries, and the ITC for solar and batteries, a 30% tax credit that helps Tesla a ton with its energy division. So all these things are going to badly affect Tesla. And I think once they are all removed next year, I think Tesla's going to start losing money literally. So I think it would actually make sense that Elon would be mad about that. The only problem is that Elon actually knew this for a while, and Trump campaigned on this, so it's not new information for him. It's so unless he thought that he would change Trump's mind on all this, but it didn't even look like he was trying to change his mind on this. In fact, Elon is on the record publicly saying that he's okay with removing all of those incentives. He did have a little caveat that you should also remove all the incentive of fossil fuel industry. But I kind of, and that's obviously not happening. And I kind of don't think that Elon was dumb enough to think that that's what's going to happen. Like, I don't know if he thought like I'll give him $300 million and then I will get my things, the things that I want. We'll kick out all the immigrants and we'll try to get the deficit under control, and we'll kill the woke mind virus and all that. And then Trump's gonna do a 180 and stop being a shield for the fossil fuel industry. Like, I don't see that happening at all, and I don't think that Elon saw it happening like that. So I don't know exactly. It might really just be about the deficit. Might be about something else. I don't know. But now the biggest example to see that Elon just doesn't care about Tesla that way anymore. I shouldn't say doesn't care about Tesla that way, because he cares about autonomous vehicles. He cares about the stock price, and the stock price is all about autonomous vehicles right now, and he admitted it. But he doesn't actually care about the original mission and our mission at Electrek here to accelerate the advent of electric vehicles, because all these part of that I just listed are more about EVs than about autonomous vehicles, obviously. And as he was like making up with Trump now, and going back on the bandwagon and literally sending him little heart emojis. That's not a joke. That's literally what he was doing this week. Trump signed 3 new resolution passed by Congress this week that reverse California's emission rules. Well, it can reverse the right to set their own emission rules. And this is going to be contested in court. California has already announced it before he actually signed it. He signed it yesterday, Thursday. And now there's just a lot of confusion now. So like the automotive industry just doesn't know, like, all right, do we have a system now for credit? Is it completely, do we participate in it as the court process is ongoing? It's not clear. But I just want to make it clear, though, that for Tesla, this was a big deal. Like, Tesla would have died without this program completely several times over the last decade. It's been financing Tesla at a great tune. At one point, in 2023, Tesla could have survived without it. Honestly, it started so much money that Tesla was making more money than what it was making from just the incentive programs. Now it's not the case. In Q1, Tesla's earnings were smaller than its revenue from selling ZEV credit and selling other emission credits. And these are going to slash the emission credit quite a bit. From my understanding, and this is pretty complicated stuff, but these changes, this resolution, don't change anything to the programs until 2028. So it basically so there's several waivers that California, and now it's not just California anymore now. Obviously, it's all the CARB states that have adopted California's rules. So that removes the right not only to California to put its own rules, but to let other states adopt its more stricter emission rules. And the original waiver is not being attacked here. It's the one that permitted California and CARB state to operate with those rules starting in 2028. But 2028, the requirements were even going up, and that will mean more ZEV credit, more all credits, and that's not happening anymore. So it is going to affect the entire ZEV credit market and credits, emission credits in general. And Tesla was making billions from that every year, and now it won't anymore. So like I said, with the tax credit going away on the EVs, with the US market slowing down, and the US market being Tesla's main profitable market right now, I think Tesla's literally going to start losing money next year.
Not good.
Yeah. All right, Xiaomi, and I'm excited, everyone. So I was supposed to go back to Montreal today, leave to Montreal today, but I'm staying in Seoul for a few more days, just chilling, waiting to be able to enter China next week on Wednesday, I think, because Xiaomi just invited me to go check out the upcoming YU7. We're going to talk about the SU7 now, but the YU7 is the same version, but a smaller SUV, mid-size SUV. And it's supposed to be, very impactful vehicle that's going to be produced in extremely high volume and most likely also going to launch Xiaomi outside of China. Well, probably that's why they are inviting some international journalists too, not just Chinese journalists, because otherwise it makes no sense. But yeah, Xiaomi is gearing up to expand beyond China, and you see it in their marketing now and the way that they are approaching their vehicle programs. Because the SU7 Ultra, which is this is an actual consumer vehicle, that thing, and we've talked about how we have a reservation about putting 1,500 horsepower in the hands of people, which is like with $70,000 you can buy 1,500 horsepower right now,
Which is wild.
It is a little bit scary. But they took that car to the Nürburgring, the famous legendary track in Germany, and they just beat the record for. So the Scooter called it mass-produced EV. I know, like these records, like they can get a little bit complicated sometimes. Like, what's a production car, what's not a production car, but let's put it in simple term here. It beat the Model S Plaid's record, which was beaten by the Porsche Taycan record, which was beaten by the Rimac Nivera $1 million electric car record. So it beat all of those with a $70,000 car. It is super impressive. It achieves the fastest time of 7 minutes 4 seconds, basically 5 seconds. They just went under the 5 seconds, and the previous one was 5.298. So now they have 4.957. So they beat it by less than a second, but still beat them. So truly, really impressive. And apparently, this is like a stock car. Like, this is exactly like the production version of the Xiaomi SU7 Ultra, which again is crazy, like 1,500 horsepower. Really impressive stuff.
You mentioned the Rimac Navara. Like, it's got to be hard to sell that car for $1 million when there's a $70,000 car with better specs.
Yeah, it's. I mean, and not just better specs. Like, with EVs, people always talk about the 0 to 60 because
Right.
you have so much torque in an EV. It's. I don't want to say easy. Like, it's still like competitive to make it a fast 0 to 60 and a fast quarter mile. But we've been doing that for a while now, and the thing with performance vehicles and performance vehicle fans and fossil fuels performance vehicle fans, the caveat was always, okay, but you need repeatability, you need handling, also you need to be able to have like fast track times. And the Nürburgring is a huge track, like a 7-minute lap here. It's not a small track. So for electric vehicles to be competitive there, it's a little bit harder. So you need to have good handling, and you need to have repeatability in your power to get all this different straight and so forth. So EVs are capable of doing that now, and so it's not just about being fast in a straight line. It's also being just fast, period. And vehicles are achieving that. And the fact that Xiaomi is able to do it with $70,000 cars makes no sense to me. So I'm really curious about next week. Like, and I'm going to spend a few days in China before that too. So I'm going to be able to check Xpeng, I think, just in, it's 5:30 a.m. for me. So I just woke up and haven't time to look at all my emails yet. But I think Xpeng just invited me to check out some of their cars too. So I'll check some of the EVs, but
are you ever coming back?
I'm going to stay there. Too many EV goodies for me. I don't know. That that's what I'm curious about. I'm actually like, am I gonna love these EVs or not? Like, I'm gonna. We talked about like, oh yeah, with the pricing and everything, like it's like, oh, 90% of the car for 70% of the price, 50% of the
Right.
price, or something like that. But like, is that 10%, 20% difference? Does it make a big difference? And so I'm really looking forward to investigate all of that next week, starting next week for the next 2 weeks after. And obviously the Xiaomi, what they are bringing me for the UI7, which is basically a Model Y competitor, and Model Y is
Right.
the best-selling car in the world. It's the best-selling form factor in the world, so it's gonna be interesting. If they do nail that, then they have a killer products on their hand, take over the Chinese market. And Xiaomi, I think, I'm going to talk to them in more details next week, but my understanding is that they want to expand starting in Europe 2027. So this is still a while. They're taking things slow, but not in China. In China, they're moving fast. So Xiaomi beats the record in Nürburgring, and then Porsche comes in with the Cayenne before the launch, because that thing hasn't launched yet. I think it's coming later this year, at the end of the year. Cayenne is the bigger SUV from, so the Macan just launched as the EV version. Now you have the Macan coming. And it just took the record from a 12-cylinder Bentley Bentayga. Bentayga? I don't know how you pronounce that. Bentayga. At an hillclimb, a popular hillclimb in the UK, not the Goodwill. I know it's the most famous one. I didn't actually know that one, but Jamie's a bit of a nerd with these. He knows them.
I think Pikes Peak is the biggest one in the or that one's in the
Yeah,
US.
in the US, yeah, but yeah, I think in the UK it's even more popular. There's it's the oh boy, Shelsley Walsh. So it's it's just 1,000 yard. Or is it that's the original one? It's just a kilometer?
Is that
What's
just
the
the height?
elevation? Yeah, oh yeah, it might be just the elevation, yeah, kilometer up. This doesn't sound how long. But it took the new record with a prototype, because again, the Porsche Cayenne hasn't launched yet. Oh no, okay, I got it here. It's the no, so no. You reference Pike Peak, which is 12 kilometers. I don't know how long is just launch. But the time here looks like so that looks probably like the time 2025, which is 20 seconds. So probably not a long one, but still impressive for Porsche. Which
Yeah, it's prototype.
they love to do that. Porsche, like how many times like they stole the Nürburgring record with the Taycan from Tesla, and then Tesla stole it back, and then they stole it again. They love to compete with those. Competition is good. All right, a few more news items before we jump into the comment section. 2026 pricing for Rivian. So Rivian has some good deals on the 2025 model years now, but the 2026 model years are coming, and you can expect just a tiny little price bumps across the board. $1,000 price bump on the dual standard, the R1S. So the R1S is going to start at $77,000 now, and it goes up to $107,000 if you're on the Tri-Max, $90,000 if you're on the Dual Max for longest range, and that also got a $1,000 price bump. The dual motor large battery is the only one that's basically stayed the same. Actually got a $90 price bump. Really? Really? We're gonna increase the price by $90. And then you have the R1T that is basically the same pricing upgrade for the different powertrains. Now it's gonna start at $71,000 and it goes up to $101,000. And these things are hitting the dealership soon. But you can still get 2025 model years, and they are pretty significant discounts right now, both on the financing side and on the lease side too.
Yep.
Not the same thing for the Kia EV9 though, because they just launched the 2026 version, and we have the pricing too. But they actually sold out the vehicle, so people saw the main numbers coming in where they sold only 37 in the US, and they're like, "Oh, what's happening with that?" And it's because they sold out of it, so they stopped producing the 2025 version, and they completely sold it out. And now the 2026 model year is coming with pricing basically staying the same. You have just a little bit of a price cut on the EV9 light long range, going from basically $60,000 to $58,000. So a little bit cheaper on that front, but it still start at 55 for the standard range. And the GT line also got a little bit of a discount for the 2026 model year, 72,000 instead of 74. We'll take that. In terms of the specs, I don't think we can expect much change. Like this thing
Pretty
literally
similar,
just launched last year. So launched 2024. So don't expect a lot of changes to the model year. Mercedes, they teased a new electric van, a new ultra luxury electric van. So it's basically one of those like limousine in a van type of deal.
Yeah, this is
The
not a van
Vision
life kind of thing.
No, don't expect that. They have the e-Sprinter that you can modify for that. This Vision V concept is basically a private lounge on wheel with a 65-inch screen, Dolby Atmos system with 42 speakers, 360 immersive experience and with audio and lighting. I mean, it looks pretty insane. I have to look at that picture here. It's pretty nuts. But and this is a concept, obviously, but they say that it's a concept for something that they actually plan to launch next year. So that this is actually going to come. Not exactly this, but something based on this very concept. So like you see the chairs here, for example. Like I wouldn't expect these chairs to make it to the production version. Normally, like these things are very concepty. They do look pretty cool, but I don't think it's production version type of thing. But you might see an actual like Mercedes electric limousine van launching as a 2026 model. Price and full spec to be unveiled closer to launch. We don't have the spec yet, but I would assume that it's the same powertrain as the latest e-Sprinter, which actually got quite a bit of a bump of capacity. So that's nice. Subaru is teasing that they are bringing back the Subaru Brat. So that actually was not in my lexicon of vehicles that I remember. I don't know about you. You remember that?
Yeah.
So I guess it's kind of sorry again. It's 5 a.m. for me. I don't remember what was the name. It's like a cowboy, kind of like Western name for El Camino. So I guess it's kind of the insert to the El Camino from Subaru in the 70s and 80s. They produced this pickup truck. So it's a low to the ground pickup truck, small pickup truck that can use more like a car, but you have the pickup at the back. And this small version here is just for fun, I assume, because put it in the back of the actual one in the back. But they announced that they are bringing back the Brat as an electric vehicle, and it's going to be based on Toyota's EPU electric pickup platform that was unveiled in Tokyo in 2023. I was actually at this unveiling in Tokyo 2 years ago, and we weren't too excited because like it's just a concept vehicle, concept pickup truck, and they didn't announce any production vehicle program on it. So I'm like, all right, cool concept, but not much there. But now, I think Toyota might have one plan in China already, but Subaru might be the first one to be like a global one. Oh, Reagan had that as 1978 Pratt, really. So it's going to be an all-wheel drive powertrain with several drive modes for various terrain. Toyota is planning a pickup truck in 2026, so that's not necessarily going to be the Brat. This is the Toyota EPU concept too. It's not the Brat one. So there's not much details as of right now. It's just that they said that they are planning to do a Brat, to bring back the Brat, and it's going to be electric based on the Toyota EPU platform.
I think it's a good product. I think that El Caminos were very, very much loved. The Brats are obviously loved. It's good.
And it's not a format that exists right now, right? Like
Not really.
electric or not.
I feel like
I cannot
there's
think
like
of one.
a Santa Fe. Is that no?
Yeah, but even that, it's like high up. It's
Yeah,
off the ground. Like you have pretty big ground clearance. It's not low like this. Because the advantage of that, obviously, it's like it's more. It's going to be much more efficient. So
yeah,
lower your
exactly. And
ground.
that's what you need for an EV. So that's smart.
Yeah. So it's not going to be obviously like something you go off roading with or anything like that. But it's going to be all wheel drive. So you
Yeah, you can
have
go to
a bed in the
IKEA.
back.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Quick one before we jump into the comment section. BYD has announced that they're bringing their ultra fast 1000-volt flash charging network in Europe. They just confirmed that this week, and it's a big deal. It's gonna boost the European charging infrastructure quite a bit, and it is one of the advantage of not having crazy tariffs. They still have tariffs too, by the way, so you can still put tariffs, and Chinese can still keep competitive, but on Chinese electric vehicles, if you don't do it or you do it more reasonably, like Europe is doing compared to North America, you end up having investments from Chinese company in things that are important, like the charging network. And BYD also, like, this is the 1000-volt architecture one that's can charge your car in 5 minutes. Um, but obviously, it's gonna have other automakers that are not using 1000-volt system can still be able to take advantage of it because Europe has the Type 2 standard anyway, so everyone has the same plug and everything like that. There's not much details on actual like deployment scale, but as you know, BYD is quite an ambitious company, and they're just starting out in Europe, really. And so, but by 2030, they want to be like a top player by 2030. So they kind of they know that right now they're just starting up, and but at 2030 they're going to be like a serious player, and that's going to be within the network of charging station now, because right now they only have 16 dealership in Belgium alone. That's kind of big. Like Belgium is not a giant country. 40 in Spain, 50 in France, and in Germany they only have 27 in Germany. They want to grow to 120. BYD is no joke. When they come fast.
Yep.
All right, let's jump into the comment section.
All right. Carl in San Diego says I have to march again in the streets tomorrow because feeble-minded, low information voters believe Elon and Trump are good for this country. Impossible to underestimate the damage they continue to cause. Obviously, California is having some issues right now. Furious that people still support and engage with any of Elon's companies in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
for
there's big
Californians.
march planned for I mean today yeah from no, yeah, you guys is still Friday, so the 13th, yeah, the 14th, so Saturday there's a bunch of march planned for
Yeah.
again, like no king march, something like that. They don't want Trump to be king, something.
Yeah. All right. Donald Parrish says FSD in parking lots needs lots more work. I think that's you don't have to. You could have just stopped before you said
Yeah,
parking
you
lots.
don't need to say parking lots, but the parking lots thing is because you can do the summon, so you can do it from outside the car.
Right.
And there's been a lot of instances of people that you need to be ready to.
Stop.
That's kind of a kill switch with latency too. So
Right.
you have the kill switch on the app, and yeah, there's been plenty of instances of people just at least it's tiny little fender benders because that's super low speed. But again, it's fender benders at low speed, and then FSD can get higher speed outside the parking lot, so it gets
On
scary.
the plus side, Donald Parrish says FSD getting over to the left lane on the highway for cars pulled off on the right. First time I'd see it,
Oh,
I'd do it consistently. So that's a
I've never
plus.
had that behavior before.
Question: any thoughts on how the new war on Iran may affect the EV industry? I think the anti-EV provisions in the Build Back Better bill might need to be reconsidered. I guess the thinking there is Iran is a big oil producer, and you want to kind of squeeze that out. I don't know
Yeah,
that.
how
I
much
mean,
did oil rise today? 8%. Yeah, I mean it's
yeah,
significant, but it went down quite a bit this year too before. So Yeah, it is significant. When oil goes up, gas prices go up,
Yep.
EV sales generally do go up. Um, but this, like, it's so hard to convince buyers around the cost of ownership. Like the sticker price is just such a big deal,
Yeah,
and
nobody
the
does
sticker
the
price
math.
gonna, yeah, no, it's hard, and the sticker price gonna go up for everyone that makes less than $150,000 a year
Yeah.
next year. So I think that's a little bit bigger than what's happening, but it is to answer your question, lawyer. It is significant,
All right.
and it's gonna have
Carl,
an impact globally too. Obviously, it's not just in the U.S.
Carl in San Diego says protesters attack Waymo cars, and before that, there have been abuse of Cruise. Tesla taxis will not be well received. Yeah, I mean, they're going to be in Austin, so that's not, it's a little bit liberal there. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean Austin itself is quite liberal, but yeah, it's not LA either.
realistically, Robotaxi will take longer than Elon's aggressive deadlines. I think that nobody on earth is arguing that. I don't think it will hurt Tesla's reputation or bottom line. That's,
No, but it goes beyond that. It's not just not meeting the aggressive timelines. It's also lying about the vehicle's capacity to achieve it in the first place. Like you
yeah,
need
and
to
the stock
remember,
price
it's
is
not just
based
a
on that.
yeah, and it's not just the timelines that were wrong. Elon was also wrong that Tesla could achieve self-driving with hardware 2, could achieve self-driving with hardware 3, and now it looks like it might be wrong about hardware 4 also. So these are promise on millions of vehicles to achieve full self-driving capabilities that won't happen. That's a giant liability for Tesla. It's not just not achieving it. And then the thing about the stock price is that Elon now has always said that Tesla is alone in this. Like there's no competitor coming close to them. So even if they are late, they're gonna be first anyway, and they're gonna dominate the market. That I think for reasonable people, that is becoming clearly false. We can see what Waymo is doing, and Waymo is performing extremely well right now. So as Tesla keep getting delayed and keep having to figure out its hardware situation, Waymo has had a completely different approach where they went crazy with the hardware. They knew exactly, and they made it work with that. And now they're trying to reduce costs and like, all right, can we make it work without this? Can we make it work without that? Is it still safe? No, that's what they're doing right now, optimizing everything, while Tesla is still trying to make it work. So, yeah, and the idea that Waymo cannot scale, and there's no doubt that it's harder to scale than if you make vision work, but you need to make vision work, and it's not working.
Yeah, Carl in San Diego adds that Cruise was doing a lot of remote driving intervention. I think that was one of the reasons
Uh,
the company was shut down. But I kind of feel like Cruise GM cut Cruise out a little short. Like I feel like they had a big product there, and they gave up a little early on that.
and because Super Cruise and the consumer product was actually pretty
Right,
good, and it still is pretty good.
still is. And actually, the upcoming Bolt, I really hope has Super Cruise because that's the one thing I really
Hmm.
wish my Bolt had. All right, Arky says I have Tesla Y hardware version 3. Do not have full FSD. Is autopilot safe on highway? I think so. Right? I like
If you're paying
autopilot.
attention, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're paying attention, yeah, you cannot become complacent with it. And that's my other fear with it too, because with that 4x increase in parameters, and if Tesla goes from like close to 500 miles between disengagement to 1,000 miles between disengagement, which I think that's a likely scenario. You could see that by the end of the year, early next year, Tesla release a big update, big improvement, you reach 1,000 miles. It's getting very good if you do that. It's just nowhere near where you need it to be unsupervised self-driving. So you still need to be supervised. It's just so good that people start becoming complacent. So there's like a balancing act between like being super good but like never achieving unsupervised, and then people being complacent because it's super good, and then like what okay, it's super good, it prevents some accident, but it's so good that people become complacent, and then you start creating some accident. Like it's a weird balancing act that scares me quite a bit.
All right.
But if you're
Electric
paying
Brian.
attention, it is good.
Electric Brian says the refreshed Model S and X ought to have hardware 5.
If they do, we don't know about it yet. I mean, deliveries are going to start any day now, and I assume that we're going to be able to get those details. But I feel like no, yeah, it's not impossible that it's in there because uh, I don't think Tesla would announce it if it's not in Model 3 and Y yet.
Speaking of that, Elon has been pitching the new Model Y as Robotaxi. You too can buy a Robotaxi, same as the one being used in Austin. Is this BS? Will the Robotaxi service be using off-the-shelf Model Ys? Yes
I, yeah,
and no.
I mean, it is using off the shelf, but no, it's not a Robotaxi. That's what you meant. Yeah.
All right. Would Tesla be able to do Airbnb for robotaxis where it offers teleoperators as a backup to Tesla owners? Over time, if it improves, they need fewer teleoperators per vehicle. Tesla could ensure.
No. Are you nuts? All
It's
right.
an
There's
interesting idea,
hundreds of thousands of people that have FSD right now.
right?
If it was actually unsupervised, there'd be millions. So now you have to figure out what the ratio that makes sense of cars to teleoperator. I don't know what that is, but if you have millions of cars, and you cannot have one guy and like 100 car, and that's the thing with the level of teleoperation. So the current service and that is about to launch in Austin is going to have a high level. And again, we literally have only seen one car being tested, and there was a training with another car with a kill switch.
It's crazy. All
How
right.
do you scale that to millions of vehicles? Makes no sense.
Yeah. Latency might not be a problem if they use Starlink. Actually, Starlink is way more latent than cell networks because it has to go all the way up and down. So I don't know
Well,
if
it's
that's true.
not that way up. So, they are so low Earth orbit that it's not that way up. Actually, the latency on Starlink is pretty good. It's the
Is it?
bandwidth that's not. Yeah, it's not always great in dense area. So if there's a lot of them, it's the bandwidth that's bad. The latency is actually pretty good. I don't think it's good enough for this though. Again, they have a training car right behind, so they might as well use Bluetooth.
Right. 12.9 miles around the Nürburgring in 7.04. We're talking about Xiaomi right now. No word from Elon. Yeah, he's.
I wouldn't expect them to kind of comment on that
Yeah, I
though.
don't think they care much about the Model S at the moment. It doesn't seem like.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. We saw the Model S. They did bring it to Nürburgring recently, the performance version. We haven't heard anything though about the like how it performed, or if they have even tried to beat the records or something. Because sometimes they just bring it to test it, so it's not clear. But you might hear something soon.
All right, we have a special
Actually,
request.
the CEO of Xiaomi did say that he expect the record to be broken soon. I don't know if he expect it to be broken by themselves or if they saw something there too, like the Moles Plaid. I don't know. It's not clear.
So if you're still talking to your Hyundai friends, or sorry, Kia friends, Fred, can you please beg for the PV5 to come to North America? Thanks. It's a good vehicle.
Guys, every time we are on a press trip, all I mean, most of the American and North American journalists, all we do is beg the automakers to bring the version that's not in America to America. That's literally, it's half of the conversation we have
Yeah,
with these automakers. It's not just me, it's all the publication. Like most of them are like, hey, we want this. With Audi, it was with, hey, bring the Avant wagon version. With Kia, it's like, oh, bring the hatchback of the EV4, bring the PV5. It's always that. That's all we do, and they very rarely listen to us.
this is a good question. Specular says, do you think that inexpensive EVs exported from China start to take over ICE cars in the developing world? I do think so because
So,
they in China they can get the price down where they're competitive with gas, and
mhm.
gas isn't super reliable in the developing world where electricity isn't reliable either. But if you have a solar array, for instance, you're gonna have enough to put in your car, and then there's all kinds of advantages like you could run uh, you know whatever off your car. as a backup for the, even in Puerto Rico, and I'm not saying that's developing world, but it is nice to have a backup battery
They have all
supply.
the grid. They have grid issues that are
Right.
similar to the more.
Right.
Yeah. No, you're right, and you see it with BYD. They do that. Like they are not scared to go in developing countries and smaller countries and just like we'll set up a dealer and we'll just make it work. So they have access to service, and maybe even if the infrastructure is not quite developed for EVs yet, you can have a situation like described with solar power, whatever, and people gradually people start to see EVs as a real option, and obviously it helps when you have like a bunch of other automakers that do it at the same time, and then the infrastructure get built and everything. But we'll get there soon enough.
All right, last question or comment. Hyundai Santa Cruz is bratish. Yeah, I said Santa Fe. I meant Hyundai Santa Cruz.
Yeah, but yeah, I get what you're saying with the Santa Cruz. I was thinking Santa Cruz when you said Santa Fe, and I think it's a little bit higher too. Still,
Yeah, it's a little taller, but it's about the closest thing there is right now currently.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for what's exciting about EVs too is like people they are willing to test different form factors with like the slate, for example. Even though I'm not sure the project will ever happen, it's still cool that these things exist and they're trying to make them. So it's exciting. All right, well, that's it for us for this week's episode of Electrek Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, and we're going to see you same time, same place next week, though I'm going to be in China. So see you there.